Hi, third grade. You have a fun math activity here to do today. You are going to pretend to be the distributive property doctor. So you have some patients here, and they have surgical requests. So you have to operate on your patients, okay? And you have to follow their formula. So you're going to perform the surgery by dragging the line to the appropriate spot. And you have to find your patient's product, okay? Remember, products, just the answers to multiplication equations. So here you see an equation. This equation originally was 7 times 8. As you can see, the array is whole and representing 7 times 8. 7 rows, 8 columns. Remember, an array is a rectangular shape that we use to model multiplication facts. And we can easily model multiplication facts with arrays because it allows us to show equal groups with rows and columns. Remember in topic 1, unit 1, we talked a lot about multiplication equations. The first factor in our multiplication equation will always tell us the number of groups we have. It will always tell us the number of groups we have. And when we're talking about arrays, it's going to tell us how many rows we have. Notice how the 7 here represents the 7 rows here. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, 7 rows. Rows are horizontal, they go left to right. Let's take a look at our columns next. The second factor will always show us how many is in a group, okay? How many items are in a group. In this case, with arrays, all we have to do is count our columns. Our columns will tell us how many items are in each group. How many items are in each row. You count the columns, it will show us that. So notice this 8 here. This 8 is the second factor of our multiplication equation, and it shows us the columns. Notice how there's 8 columns here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Columns are vertical, up and down. Notice that. Now, in order to help your patient here, you have to perform the surgery correctly. You have to follow this equation exactly, okay? So let's take a look at this. We're going to do this first one together. I want you to pay attention to what changes here in the numbers. It's very, very important to notice this. We just talked about how the first factor went in a multiplication equation tells us the groups, the number of rows when in terms of arrays. That is the same even when we split it using the distributive property. Notice what number changes, okay, as we walk through this. So the 7 here represents the rows. Let's look at 2 times 8 here. This is the when we split using distributive property, we're going to get an array. We want to show an array that has 2 rows of 8. Now, this tells me that I have to split this array by the rows. Notice how the columns have not changed. There's still 8 columns. There's 8 columns in the original problem, and there's 8 problems in the split. 8 rows, 8 columns in the split. Also, notice how the second factor in our next array is going to have 8 columns as well. So we are literally taking 7 and we are splitting it up into 2 and 5 because the purpose of distributive property is to take an unknown fact or a hard, difficult fact, and break it down into smaller known facts. So we were literally taking that 7 and splitting it up into 2 and 5. The columns are going to stay the same. So let's go ahead and do that. So I need to make an array here. I need to split this in a way where I have 2 rows of 8. So I'm going to split it by the rows. 2 rows of 8. Here it is, 2 rows of 8. Look at this bottom part. Remember, when we use distributive property here, we are taking an original problem and breaking it into smaller units. So here, I made an array. And also here at the top, I'll use a different color to represent this one, I made an array. So now I need to check my answer here and make sure that I separated my array like I was supposed to. So here I have 2 rows, 1, 2 of 8. My columns are still 8. I know that for a fact. I already counted them. And here at the top, it shows 5 rows of 8. Now I'm ready to find my product. The purpose of distributive property is to break it apart so you can put it back together. Break it apart so you can put it back together. That is the purpose of this plus sign here. The parentheses separate our problems, okay? This just represents those 2 arrays we made there at the top, okay? It separates those problems from each other. Now, this addition sign is there to remind us that we have to put it back together because remember, our original problem was 7 times 8. That's the whole reason why we're doing this. We need to find 7 times 8. And 7 times 8 is a little difficult, so we're going to split it apart so we can make it a little bit easier. So we know our 2's very well. 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is, I'm going to give you some time to think about it. When you have 2 as a factor, what do you know? 2 times 8. Yes, if you said you can skip count by 2's up to 8 to get your answer, you are absolutely right. There's another strategy you can use. Yes, you can also double that 8. You know when you see 2 times 8, that also means 2 groups of 8, meaning 8 plus 8. And also, there's another strategy. Use the array, silly. Look at 2 rows of 8 here. You could literally just count this and it will give you the answer, 1. Or you could skip count using this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There is no reason for you to get stuck and say, oh, I don't know that, I don't know that, I don't know that. You have an array here to help you. Use it. At 16, and you will need a piece of paper because you don't have a pen like I do right here. At 16, I'm going to add that plus sign right here because I know I'm going to add this product with this product to get my answer of 7 times 8. For 7 times 8. 5 times 8. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Now, if I add 40 and 16 together, I will get the answer to 7 times 8. That's why you see this equal sign here. That's why all of this equals 7 times 8, because this is going to give us our product. 16 plus 40. Well, if I look at 16 as just a 10 and remove that 6 for a second, I can quickly add that to 40 and get 50, add that 6 back in, and boom, 56. You will have to type your answer. You have some problems to do on your own. So this was your model. I will also post a resource video for you to watch on distributive property so you can learn more about it. We've been working with this for about a week now. So show me what you know. Have fun with this and fix your patients. They need you.